If you've been listening to the pod, you know I'm marking my calendar for the big sale from Last Bottle Wines, one of our wonderful sponsors. If you don't already know, they're a Napa-based online wine shop that offers 30 to 70% off retail. And the best part, there's no subscriptions, no fees, and no minimum purchase, just a daily email with really great wine. And as I mentioned, they're having a massive sale. Their marathon sale is coming up on March 28th and 29th. They flip that one wine per day rule on its head and instead offer back-to-back, two-back deals. That means wines are only up on the site for a couple minutes at a time. We got a preview order with the mini marathon package of some of their favorites, and I'm telling you, it's a sale you want to get in on. And the best part is we're offering Dateable listeners 10% off your first order with code DATEABLE. Sign up at lastbottlewines.com and use the code DATEABLE and find out why Last Bottle is the most fun way to discover and buy amazing wine. We are so thrilled to be partnering with Hinge. Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted. As you all know, I'm a huge Hinge advocate as I met my partner of almost 3 years on the app. Even before meeting him, Hinge was always my go-to app because I met more relationship-minded people here and had some great dates. Clearly, I haven't been on the app for a little while, but I re-downloaded it to check out some of the new features. One that stood out to me was the voice prompt, my best friend's take on why you should date me, where your friend can hype you up. Not only does this make the profile creation less daunting, but it's not always easy to see your own green flags. So to test it out, I asked Yue some fun prompts to get her take on what I could put if I was dating again. So the first one, how long have we known each other? What was your first impression of me and how has that changed?
Julie and I have known each other for almost 10 years. My first impression of Julie was that she's very social, but I've learned that she has a lot more depth to her beyond the social butterfly that she is.
My next prompt, what do you think are my green flags?
I would say she's deeply loyal. She believes in love, curious mindset, and she is fearlessly ambitious.
And then last but not least, what kind of friend am I?
Julie is the kind of friend who will always have your back, no matter what.
Damn, that feels nice to hear. So download Hinge and try voice prompts today. Then find someone worth deleting the app for.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating sociologists.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to the Dateable Podcast. Welcome to Brunch Talk, where we answer your burning dating questions because there are so many. They're burning, they're hurting, and we're here to help you relieve the burn. Sorry.
It's like burning and hurting. I mean, love questions are painful, but that brought it to a whole nother level.
I am in pain just revisiting that sentence. Why don't we relieve the pain by going straight into our question for this episode? And the question is it a bad idea to date someone who is going through a divorce?
For more context, I started dating someone wonderful only to find out he's separated and not legally divorced yet. He says he has every intention of divorcing, but it's still unsettling to me. How do I proceed?
Okay, been there, done that. Checked it off my box. Would I ever do it again? Probably not. The thing is, everyone's different, and whatever stage of divorce they're in, they may have been far removed out of that relationship a long time ago. They may have separated a long time ago, or maybe this is something really fresh and new. Either way, that's their truth. But I think as the recipient of this situation, it's always better to start from a clean slate. Mm-hmm. And even though that person may say, it's been over, we're definitely not even like living together, the papers are almost ready, like it doesn't matter because I think it's still a clearing of energy. And in hindsight, I think I would have preferred to wait for the energy to fully clear before hopping into a relationship with this person.
I also realized I forgot to read something actually kind of important in this one, so I'm going to add it to this. But
yes,
it says that the guy is still living with his ex-wife.
Oh,
so I was like looking at this and I'm like, I think my opinion might have changed a little with that.
Yeah.
You know, This is complicated. I don't know if there is a black and white answer because I know divorce takes a while too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every situation is different. So I don't want to say like you should definitely leave the person. That being said, like you're clearly unsettled about what the situation is and it's making you uncomfortable. So I think it comes down to having a conversation if you haven't yet, putting that out there. And I mean, there's nothing wrong too of saying, let's revisit this after you're like done. You've gone through the separation or you've moved out or whatever step needs to be taken. Maybe it doesn't even have to be the full divorce. Maybe it can just be in motion. But if you're uncomfortable that he lives with his ex, maybe that's step number one. You know, like there's multiple things that could happen before you enter a relationship. And I don't think there's anything wrong of saying like, I would be more comfortable being in a relationship if you're not living with your ex-wife.
Yeah. I mean, the living together, that totally just puts it over the edge for me. It's like, no, you can't be living with an ex and trying to date. Even if this person wasn't living with their ex, it's like they could say everything they can to say the relationship is over. But before you are legally divorced, there's still legalities. There's still assets involved. There's still stuff. There's still entanglement. Okay, regardless of whether they're physically together or not. And I remember even before this most recent ex, I dated another divorced guy. And he told me that they were fully done. He was like fully ready to move on. And I really fell for him hard, but he wasn't ready to be in a full relationship.
Yeah.
And then a few months ago, I got really curious about when he actually got divorced. So I looked up public records. He was legally divorced a year after we met.
Yeah.
So he had just started the process then. There was no way he would have been ready, but I fell for him. And I'm glad I removed myself out of that, knowing that it wasn't going to end well. So regardless of whether they're physically living together or not, it's like the legalities of marriage are still going to tie them together.
Yeah. And this is tough. I'm not sure if I think I told you this, Yue, but like my ex lived with his ex still when we were dating.
Oh, yes. No, I remember that. Because they had been together for a long time.
I mean, they weren't married, so that part's out, but it had been like a long relationship. I'm obviously not going to like go into like what their relationship was, but there were, I guess, without saying too much, there were reasons that it ended that would make it very clear that they weren't going to be like together. So it actually like, didn't bother me. It was definitely weird. And she also traveled a lot, so she wasn't really there. It's weird though, like looking back on it and thinking that like I dated someone that lived with their ex, like it's certainly weird. And clearly the time was mostly spent at my place for that reason alone. That being said, I wanted to bring this up because there's always an exception to it. Like we don't know what's going on with you with this person. So I don't want to say again, like blanket, like no go. I think you really need to like understand the situation, but also being okay if it's uncomfortable to you to say like, let's put this on pause.
Yeah, I hate equating this to this, but it's like if you're finishing up college and you get a job before you get your degree, your job would not let you start until you get your degree first, until you graduate first.
Yeah.
Same thing with this. You got to get the papers before you can start something new. I think it's very black and white in my head, even if there are exceptions to make it easier for you and to make it more clear for you. So you don't have any questions or when is this going to happen? Also, the other thing, you don't know how long it will take. Like with my last relationship, every month he's like, I think this is the month. I think this is the month it's going to happen. And when it finally happened, I think it was 6 months after we started dating, it was such a sigh of relief. Like this is actually officially over. But you as the partner, it's not a good feeling while this is all happening.
But you would also say that, like, even though the papers were signed, there was still, like, this element of the ex in the relationship, too.
Yes.
So even if the papers are signed, it doesn't mean that someone's necessarily ready to dive into something deep or something serious. Of course, that's case by case. Like, again, we're not going to say generalization, but that's another assessment point. It's not just about the papers. Like, is it this person ready to go all in again?
Yeah. And I guess that's what ultimately matters is, do you feel you're going to get everything that you're looking for? from this person in terms of a partner. They could say whatever they want. That's the thing with divorced people or people going through a breakup. They will say they're ready. They'll say all the things.
Right. And they might think
and they may
are.
mean it. Yeah. And that's their truth. But it's up to you to determine if you honestly feel what they're saying. And sometimes we overlook that because we want to believe them so bad. The words sound so good. But if their actions aren't showing you what they are telling you, I think that is a reason for caution.
And it's hard because like some people, when they get divorced, they don't want to be in a relationship again. It's like they want to stay far away from it. And then there's other people that immediately want to go back into them. And should they be going immediately? You know, that's debatable, but at least like they want to. So it's really hard because like it can hit people in different ways. It seems very extreme from people that I've observed. Of course, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are in the middle that just like aren't the stories you hear about too.
I've noticed this in myself and even in the people I've dated who've gone through major divorces or breakups. The first month or two, you kind of want to jump into another relationship because you have all this relationship experience and familiarity. You're like, oh, I'm so ready to do my best with someone else, you know, try out all these relational skills I just learned from this relationship. And I'm so accustomed to being with someone that I crave being in a relationship. And then a few months go by and then you realize I need a full reset and I need to be on my own to work on myself before I'm ready again. So if you catch someone right at the end of their breakup or divorce, right as they're entering into the dating world, you are catching them at a time where they say they're ready for a relationship, but it's a short-lived time period.
I think that's a really good point. I want to go a little deeper on that, but before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Viia. We all know there are things that can help set the mood in the bedroom, but did you know a little THC could also do that? Yes, Viia has developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids, libido-strengthening herbs, and a low dose of THC all into one mind-blowing gummy called High Love. This gummy, wow, it will awaken your senses, increase blood flow, and intensify any sexual experience. I've been pleasantly surprised by the High Love gummies because it is just the right amount of THC for me to have a good time without feeling sleepy. And hey, if THC is not your thing, Viia also offers a wide array of other gummies without it. And everything legally ships in 50 states with discreet packaging directly to your door. So if you're over 21, you can get 15% off and a free pack of award-winning Dreams THC plus CBN sleep gummies with our exclusive code DATEABLE at viiahemp.com. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Let the gummies work their magic. Head to viiahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE to receive 15% off and one free sample of their Sleepy Dream gummies. That's viiahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE at checkout. Take your passion and pleasure to a whole new level with High Love from Viia Hemp.
Living with ADHD can be a challenge, and dating with ADHD is definitely a challenge, we've heard many of you say. But finding the right care and proper tools needed to succeed can be life-changing. Done is an online ADHD care platform that can get you all the resources you need to help manage your ADHD. Online visits, refills, and a 24/7 care team made for you. In just 1 minute, Done's online assessment can help kickstart your ADHD treatment journey. With experienced clinicians, worry-fill refills, and online visits, you can start getting personalized care as soon as today or tomorrow. So contact an expert team that can help you around the clock and get a personalized treatment plan just for you. Here's how you do it. Take a free 1-minute assessment and book an appointment with a licensed ADHD clinician as soon as the next day. Get continuous care, one-click refills, insurance coverage, and 24/7 care team support with Done for just $79 a month, and pharmacy copays as low as $0. Visit get.donefirst.com/podcast to learn more. That's get.donefirst.com/podcast to learn more. Done. Turn ADHD into your strength.
As you know, I recently left my corporate job and I've been in total recovery mode, all about self-care. One of my new routines is the nighttime shower before bed. There's just something about washing away the day and that reflection that's been super helpful for me. I've been using one of our partners, Osea's Mega Moisture Duo. This combo body oil and body lotion are so freaking incredible. It literally feels like I'm at a spa. I realized that the secret is seaweed and other skin level ingredients that are normally reserved for face products. And that's why I was so excited when Osea became one of our partners. And, we're so grateful for partners like this because one, they keep the show going, but they're also super good for all of our listeners and for our own well-being. So if you want to have that nighttime bliss like I am doing, you can get 10% off your first order site-wide with code DATEABLE at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order and free shipping on orders over $60. So head to OSEAMalibu.com and use the code DATEABLE for 10% off. Let us know which products you end up going with. Share them in social. Super excited to see what you end up choosing. So I 100% agree with you that it can come in waves. And that's why I think stepping back and taking your time with this is actually a sound strategy. Because when you think about it, let's say this person is legit and they are ready for a relationship. If you wait 6 months to a year, whatever it is that this needs to be done, if you have your whole lives together, that actually isn't that much time in the scheme of things. That doesn't mean you can't have any contact in that time period, but it's basically maybe you're not in a full-fledged relationship where things are moving at lightning speed when someone's coming out of this. It just gives you more time to evaluate their readiness because you'll see, are they going through those different stages? I think time is one of those things in modern dating that we just want to rush everything to the finish line. But sometimes just letting it play out is the only way to know. And if this person is truly worth it to you, then maybe it does make sense to give it a little time.
Yeah. And it's also hard not to take it personally because I've also seen this situation. You get involved with someone right after a breakup or divorce, and then they're not ready. And then you break up, and a few months later, they're in a full-blown relationship. And you're like, oh, it was just me. Yeah. It's actually not you. It's the timing of everything. And you just came in
definitely
a little too early and you prepped them for that next person.
Yeah.
And that train definitely was running at that time and that person jumped right on. So that's why I'm make it as simple for you as possible and not have these questions of, is it me? Are they going to choose me? Are they ready for me? It's really not that personal.
What I said, I realized I don't want it to come off I'm saying you should sit and wait for this person. I'm not saying that. It's more of giving it that year or whatever and you doing you in your life. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, not just sitting waiting for it to happen. You're not oh my God, did they sign their papers today? You can't be like that, or you might as well just be full-fledged into it. It's more of not necessarily closing the door completely because this person could be a good partner for you in due time, but it's not waiting for something. It's not banking on potential, but basically reevaluating when it might be more realistic.
And unfortunately, all of us will be roadkill in this process at one point or another, where when you've just gotten out of a relationship or a marriage, one of the only ways to know if you're ready to get back into dating is by dating.
Yeah.
And that involves people. And Julie, you went through this after a breakup. You had to go on a date to realize you were not ready to date. And that person was roadkill. But all of us have to be roadkill at some point to help someone realize whether they're ready or not. But it's not time wasted because the time you're spending together, you're still getting to know a new person. You're still developing your relational skills. It just wasn't meant for you two to be, but it's okay to be roadkill. Don't spend all your time trying not to be roadkill. I just don't want to be a victim in this. It's okay if you are. And we all have to go through it. That's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reality with every dating situation, not just coming out of a divorce, is you never know where someone's fully at.
Yeah.
There's always something that could be going on in their lives. And the roadkill, it sounds bad. So I just have this vision of just you laid on the street, just getting
I know, blood everywhere,
over by car. But I mean, I think the reality is in dating, that is the risk you're taking with every interaction, and you shouldn't try to prevent it. There's no way to prevent it. It's more about just having your own sense of self and understanding it's not a reflection on you, like you were saying earlier. So much of it has to do with this person and where they're at, and really has zero to do with you.
And deep down inside how you're feeling around this person.
Yeah.
What does it bring up for you? If you had to ask us this question by emailing us, It's
Yes.
definitely bring up anxiety for you. We don't even need to talk to you. That's obviously top of mind and is probably keeping you up at night. So that anxiety is a clue for something else. And I think you know deep down inside what that clue is for.
Yeah, like I feel like by the time we get this question, it's probably been eating at you for a while.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you got to put yourself first in this situation. Like, it's really easy when someone's like, oh, but like, it's just a timing thing. It'll be soon to get sucked into it. But you have to remember, what do I want in a relationship? And is this person able to give it to me? If they're living with an ex-wife, still entangled with an ex-wife, it might just realistically be hard for them to give you what you're looking for, even if they're the most amazing person in the world. So just remember that, like, when you break up or end a relationship, it's not always because like the person was terrible. A lot of times it's just that you're not compatible of where you are in life. Well, good luck.
Yes.
Good luck out there.
Thanks for writing in.
It's a hard one. When you meet someone and then the situation doesn't line up, it's never easy.
But you have all the tools now. So go with your fearless, badass self and send in more of your burning questions. You can email us hello@dateablepodcast.com. You can DM us on social media @dateablepodcast, or you can bump up your question to the top of the queue by leaving us a rating and review in Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. And in the body of your review, you can ask your question there and we will make sure to answer it at the top of the queue. And that wraps it up for Brunch Talk today. We'll see you all next week.
See you next week.
The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Media Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram @dateablepodcast and visit dateablepodcast.com for access to all the episodes and our premium programs. Also, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform so you are the first to get all the latest episodes. And most importantly, stay dateable.